G'day, how's it going? So we've just spent the morning walking into the bush here. I'm at the far end of my possum trap line and I've already pulled out the close end, so now we're going to spend the next 3 days up here working the rest of this line out. To make things a little bit more interesting, I decided not to bring any food with me on this trip, so I've just got a rifle, my trapping gear, sleeping bag and stuff, and obviously all the camera gear and that. And yeah, but no food. So I'm gonna film every meal that I have over the next 3 days, and obviously every meal is gonna come from the bush, what we can hunt and gather, yeah, from this area we're in. Sweet. Bugger. So yeah, that'll be fun. First things first, I'm just gonna carry on up the river a bit further and find a nice spot to camp, and then we'll set up our camp and then we'll get to work. Sweet. Right, so I think I've found the area I'm going to camp in. I've climbed up the hill quite a long way now, we're a long way from the river. But yeah, we're in quite different bush. Sort of a belt of open beech forest, mature beech. And the main reason I've picked up here, partly because my trap line runs through it, because it's easy walking and there's a few possums in here, but also the other reason I've picked it is because it's really dry under here. Heaps of dry firewood. It's going to be no issue getting firewood. You can see up there there's a big old beech tree that's fallen down. You could yeah, you could burn wood here for bloody years. So yeah, I'm just going to whack my hammock probably from that tree to that tree, something like that. Yeah. Now we're just going to go set some traps and hopefully shoot a deer for dinner. I actually spooked a deer on my way up here. But yeah, I'll send the drone up through the trees and give you a bird's eye view just to give you an idea of the area that we're in for the next 3 days. So over to the north there we got a nice high range with a bit of tussock top on it. That sort of divides us between the next watershed over. And then you look to the east, we've got a nice valley running up. We're camped on the side of the north facing side of it, and that's where most of our traps are, so we'll be spending most of our time in there. And up in the head of that is hopefully where we'll shoot a deer this afternoon. And then to the south, it's just the face that we're camped on, tucked in to the side of the hill there. And then over to the west we got the other end of the valley basically. If you follow that valley down, that's the way we walked in. that's the way you get out. So yeah, she's pretty nice area. Anyway, we'll rip into it. I've just seen a bit of edible greens here. There's quite a lot of it around here growing on these old beech trees. Most people call it hound's tongue. You eat those light green bits. That stuff's quite hard to get to, but there's some over here, I'll show you. Yeah, because it's springtime at the moment, there's lots of the new growth. So you don't want to eat these dark green ones, you want to eat the light green. And it's actually really nice. It's like a real mild lettuce taste to it. It's super edible. So yeah, you can cook it, but you can just eat it raw too. And there's heaps of it. It grows all throughout New Zealand pretty much, I think. And yeah, we'll be able to pick a big bag full of that within a few minutes. So we'll have all the salad we need for dinner. Just need to work on the protein side of things. Bugger. Oh, I just messed up my first opportunity there. It's on the main clearing and there's a deer on it. Thought I'd try and set up the camera on the tripod so I could get a nice clear shot of it when I shot it. But yeah, it didn't hang around long enough, so I buggered off and I'm left with no deer now, so bugger. Probably should have just shot it. I'm not worried about filming it, but if we see another one I might do that. But yeah, that's enough. We may not see any more. But yeah, bugger. Oh well. Oh well, we got some lead in the air. It's been about an hour since I saw that deer on the clearing. And I've just been sneaking along further up here. I came from up here. I was sneaking along, really open bush in here. And there's a deer just on the other side of that log there. So yeah, we put a shot into her. Didn't film it, I just had this thing on, so I don't know how good a footage it was, but we got footage of one deer anyway, and I wasn't willing to let this one go, so beauty. It's dinner for the next 3 nights and then some. Certainly not a fat deer. But there are a lot of deer in this area, and you don't get many fat deer this far into the bush, so still plenty of meat. still plenty of nutrition, and we'll get a bit of fat off the possums that we're catching. So yeah, we'll get to work. Right, so we got the best bits here so far. A nice big bit of liver, heart, tongue, kidneys, and I'm just getting the brain out now. Right, so that's all that work done. Got the meat that we're going to eat for dinner and breakfast tomorrow. I've hung up the rest of the deer there, and yeah, we can just come back. This is at the end of our trap line, so we'll be here tomorrow. Take some more meat off it. But yeah, we'll get back to work. Set these traps. And go cook up the feed. I'm starting to get pretty hungry now. Got the fire going now at camp, and I'm just waiting for it to burn down a bit and create some embers that we can cook on nice and do some nice cooking on. Yeah, in the meantime, picked a bit of manuka. We'll use that in a tea later on. I'll just put that in my pack, and we'll go and collect some greens to have with our venison. I was thinking about it before. What these ones taste like is basically, they basically taste like sprouts, like sprouted broccoli seeds or sprouted beans. Really nice, like nutty almost flavour. But yeah, I think I might actually cook these ones, just because I've eaten a heap of raw ones during the day today. I've been snacking away on them. So yeah, I might just cook them for something a bit different. I just noticed there's a bit of dwarf nettle down here. So that's alright to eat as long as you boil it up. And that'll get rid of the stings on it. See the stings on there, they're not as bad as the old onga onga, that's for sure. That's our native tree nettle, but this stuff's a bit tamer. I'll chuck it in there and we'll just cook that stuff together. There's a wee bit of it around, not a heap, but it is quite early in spring, so there's not like a heap of growth around, unfortunately. The fire's about ready. I've just got a bit of the fat that I took out of the behind the eyeballs and that. I'm just going to render that down so we got some oil to cook our other stuff in. I'm just going to dice this up with the kidneys and the liver, or some of the kidneys, some of the liver, all of the heart. It's going to be our first course tonight. Alright, so that fat's rendered a little bit. It hasn't rendered heaps because I think it's just not real fatty, but I'm hungry here, so I'm just going to chuck this stuff in. Look at that, liver, kidney, heart. Pretty good. Definitely got greens in there. Even the liver's not too bad. What these greens taste like. They've actually got less taste when they're cooked. It's actually quite a big meal here. I might actually be full after I've eaten this. It feels bloody heavy actually. Probably 1.5 kilos there. Right, so that's dinner polished off. Now it's time for dessert. Yeah. Venison sashimi. There's actually nothing wrong with a bit of fresh back steak raw. Morning, breakfast time. Got the fire going there. Nice embers building up slowly. So yeah, I'm going to cook up some brain and maybe one of the eye fillets for breakfast. And then we'll get on our way. Check our trap line, hopefully catch some fat possums and see what other native plants we can find that we can eat. Alright, breakfast is served. Brain in there, that eye fillet looks really nice and even quite juicy. Oh. Right, so I'm just digging a wee hole here to put my bag of meat in. It's a good way to keep meat if like it's springtime at the moment, so it is fairly warm during the day. Just got to find a nice bit of wet soil. This is sort of quite damp in here, so it's nice and cold to the touch. Keep our meat cold when the sun gets up and starts warming things up. You can use moss to do this too if you're in a spot where there's heaps of wet moss. It's real good. You just got to remember where you put it. Got to stick there so don't forget. I've just found a nice big cabbage tree. She looks pretty healthy. There's a lot of fronds up there, so I might climb up, see if I can't climb up here and get some of the younger ones, younger shoots. Bring them down and that'll be a bit of carbohydrate for our meal. If we can't have fat, at least we have a bit of carbs. So yeah, I'll see if I can get up there and get some down. Alright, so we got a couple down. Just gonna strip all this away and get that white centre. Sweet. So there we have it. Alright, so we're just at the top of this wee slip here. And there's a little bit of puha starting to grow. But it's just a little bit early to really get a decent feed out of it, but I'll pick it anyway, some of it. So you break it off there, and there's sort of a white milky stuff in it. And that's one of the ways you can identify it, to make sure it's not something else. And plus just the shape of the leaves. This stuff here is a little bit more like it, a wee bit bigger. One thing it's good to make sure when you're doing something like this is to really make sure that there's no other plants growing in amongst what you're picking. So you don't want to be picking something that you're not supposed to. Picking up a bit of ragwort or a young toot shoot or something could wind up bloody killing you, so sweet. That's quite a good feed of greens there. First afternoon snack we're going to have, a bit of bone marrow. I'll just chuck those legs on the fire there. Just got to crack these bones open now. There's this piece here that you want to eat. You've got to be quite delicate with it. Bloody good though. Might be the best part of the animal, it's just a shame it's such a hard thing to get into. So I'm just dicing up the tongue. That'll be the first thing to go in the pot. Put the tongue in there. May as well whack the puha in there too now. Just chop this down a wee bit further to the real good stuff. And you can actually eat this stuff raw too. It's quite soft and yeah, pretty eatable really. Bit of kidney in there too. And I think I'll chuck in some bone that we've already cooked over the fire. That's the joint, knee joint. Chuck that in there. That'll jellify and we'll get some goodness out of the bones. Sweet. Chuck it on the fire now. Rightio, so the fire's all burnt down pretty much. And this has been simmering away there for a good couple of hours. That's a pot full of goodness right there. Oh well, I'm going to tuck into this and drink the juice afterwards once it cools down a bit. You get all that goodness. And then yeah, have an early night. And it's the big day of work tomorrow. We've got to pull out all these traps and carry a big load down the river, so that's going to be a lot of work, so we better make sure we're well fueled with all this food. And yeah, that'll be ours. So yeah, sweet. I'll see you tomorrow. Morning. So it started to rain last night, just light rain. So yeah, the bush is a wee bit wet today, but that's okay. Just gonna have a quick breakfast, bit of back steak. Whack it on the fire for a minute or two, and then we'll rip into it. Oh, look at that. Righto, so pretty much all packed up now. Did all the traps this morning, so glad to have that job all done. Yeah, I haven't got the most amount of energy today, but I did only eat back steaks for breakfast, so it's probably not the best breakfast to have. But yeah, I'll be out of the bush in a few hours. I'm just going to carry all this stuff down the river. And then yeah, I'll be off to the shop to get a few pies or something. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, see you next time. Cheers.